Hello, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Believe in Our State podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Vancil.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are back. And if for all White Sox fans, check out the page at the Southside Boys. I was on there yesterday talking about the first half of the Chicago White Sox. So if you are also a Chicago White Sox and Iowa State Cyclones fan, go and check that out. But Cody, welcome back to the show. I cannot wait to talk about the offensive side of the football for the Cyclones.
hmm Yep. Looking at it right now, immediately for me, the biggest, obviously, this is where you're gonna have a lot of turnover, but the coaching staff, I think, already sets a solid foundation with Tyler Roll, who many Iowa State fans will like to remember as the tight ends coach from 2024. Served a 1 year stint with the Detroit Lions, so. Coming back to Iowa State, he's coming back to a pretty familiar place, and he will be the offensive coordinator. So already you have like a little bit of like some like recent continuity, if you will, with like this whole roster, like with this whole new roster. But the offensive philosophy I look at already is probably going to be a lot more like relying on like the offensive line and maybe like Jalen Raynor to create plays on his feet, but also you have like that running back room, so you might be seeing a lot more of like maybe like 12 personnel type of deal where the tight ends are probably going to be an even bigger focal point than maybe we saw last year.
Yeah, it's similar. You know, he's some comes sort of comes from the similar ilk from what Mauser was. Mauser was also started as a tight ends coach. Actually, if you really go into Tyler Roll's career, he started off as an offensive GA in 2011 for North Dakota State, and then also came back in 2014 as a tight end and fullbacks coach. So offensively, you've seen, um, like if you've watched North Dakota State in the past, they definitely run a lot out of the pro formation. You've seen players like Hunter Lipke, who's on the Dallas Cowboys. Um, they actually use a fullback and a lead blocker. Um, so I also would be very surprised to see what he does with the tight ends, and part of me also wonders, like, if he sees maybe, and I'm not saying that they're like the same type of player, but you saw that he was the offensive coordinator in 2019, and one of the guys that was there in 2019 for quarterback was Trey Lance. So maybe Tyler Rose sees that as possibly a guy that could be similar to what Trey Lance is. Um, yeah,
hmm Yeah. So I think I might have actually said that Tyler Roll in his previous stint at Iowa State was the tight ends coach. I'll have to correct that. He was actually the running backs coach, and then obviously he was a part of like how Carson Hansen had his breakout season in 2024, and now in 2026, you look at the running back room for Iowa State. Um, you look at possibly there are some things there, and I believe Cam Petaway and Aiden Flora are probably going to be the two main guys there. And I think I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but like who knows? Maybe Tyler Roll can use his experience of working with the Detroit Lions and perhaps working a little bit with David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs, and not to like say like it's gonna be like apples to apples, but maybe Tyler Roll could see some like similarities there. What the Lions use for David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs, and maybe implement some of that for Cam Petaway and Aiden Flora.
honestly, yeah. I mean, we would have to see. Flora would probably be more of the David Montgomery type. Cam Petaway is more of the speed type of guy. And I know those two are going to be used in the return game, and also, maybe and what you said, maybe Arnold Barnes, the guy that we got, the running back that we got um, from Tulane, he's more of the bruising back type. So maybe we see him in short yardage situations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right,
So I guess
so,
that
yeah,
said,
go
yeah,
ahead.
we're gonna go ahead and go on the so with the offensive breakdown, I think we want to start where I think maybe the most like underrated but yet pretty important area would be the offensive line. Now, if you don't have
Yeah.
a good offensive line, you're not going to be able to run offense. And I've seen time and time again what happens when you have all-star talent, but then you have a terrible offensive line play.
Yeah, I think that I think the guy that is going to be um, probably um, well, at least right now on the depth chart, it says that Garrett Rutledge is the number one guy. I would thought Masai King was going to be the guy, but hey, we still have, we're still going through fall camp still. But um, I think both tackles are both going to be the key. Jake Taylor. The question for me with Jake Taylor is that, at his previous stops, one of the problems they had was just staying healthy. Can he stay healthy? Good thing is we do have depth on this line with Austin Barrett behind him and then Gabriel Greenlee. So,
Hmm.
um, I think the tackles are going to be um, uh, are definitely going to be a really really big impact on here. Then you see right guard Colin Amick, who I believe was coming from the FCS level to the FBS level, and then Caden Moss, who also came from a level below. Who I believe was Braden Smith at Tarleton State. So a lot of these offensive linemen are coming up from lower levels and coming up to Big 12 football. Um, I really am excited to see what Jake Thornton does with this type of with these type of guys, because
Hmm.
obviously this is more of like a prove it type of thing, because a lot of stuff we're just speculating because we don't know. We
Yeah.
really won't know about this offense probably until like the third or fourth game of the season.
Hmm. And I think one place you want to look at is the sacks given. So the sacks
Yeah.
allowed by this offensive line is the number one thing. Over the past 3 years, it has been up and down for Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
21 sacks allowed uh, during the last season. Also produced 23 rushing touchdowns and 16 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
And you compare that to, I mean, to even 2024, where I think there was a lot, like I think that was a lot more free flowing offense, but there were a lot more sacks given up, and I think we saw like the breakdown of a bad line play, especially during the 2 game losing streak that we had back to back weeks with Texas Tech and Kansas. Um, but overall, that's somewhere an area where I think is the biggest thing for me is can you protect the quarterback? That's gonna be the number one thing. Obviously, Jalen Rayner can scramble out the pocket if needed, but ideally, you still don't want to get to a point where he has to be forced to scramble. So if that offensive line can hold up and give Jalen Rayner time to make his reads, that's where you see the most. That's where you see the most significant like signs of a good offense.
And one thing I will say is that this offensive line does have size. That's one big thing I do like is that it's like at least the average size probably like what 6'5", 6'6", over 300 pounds. So
Hmm.
being probably one of the biggest lines in college football, that helps when you're trying to get. Obviously, you got to have leverage too. You can't be just big and then not be able to move anybody. But I'm sure that they're going through that right now, and that we'll have that, and obviously we'll report that to you once the depth charts come out, and that
Yeah.
usually is not until a few
Yeah.
weeks before. But like offensive line wise, do you think that I have I'm gonna share my screen, and I guess we could like sort of speculate on who we think could take those spots. Um,
Mhm.
1 second, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, the name for me that's obviously gonna jump out the most of the Bear Brothers. That's probably the most familiar, but I'm looking towards definitely the left side. The left side, because Jalen Rayner's right-handed, correct?
Yes.
Hmm. So that blind side is where I need to look at the like is going to probably be the most important to me is can you protect the blind side of Jalen Rayner? And I think Caden Mass and Jake Taylor, they look like two guys who could step up and really do so. If you're able to get them to a point where like they can really recognize some of these defensive lines, especially Texas Tech, and be like obviously Texas Tech is the big example, but
Mm-hmm.
luckily we're not going to play them, which I think it's probably a good thing too because you don't have to go up against those kind of guys. But you are gonna go up against teams like Iowa. I think Kansas State usually has a pretty solid defensive line. I
Utah
would
does
also,
too.
hmm? Yeah, I think
Utah
Kansas.
does and BYU.
Oh, Utah. Yep, yep, yep. You have them, and then Kansas. I feel like there was like I don't know. There are times where I think Kansas could look like a team that could have a solid defensive line. I don't know why. That's kind of a team that I think could have an underrated defensive line. And then who knows what you get against Oklahoma State, considering what I mean, you're bringing up a good amount of those North Texas guys, and I mean, I was able to watch some of their games, and from what I saw, I that could be a pretty good unit that in this Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, um, it's we don't know, but Jake Taylor coming from Oklahoma, playing at probably one of the highest levels of college football in the SEC, and also really interested to see if the battle between Caden Moss and DeAndre Carter. DeAndre Carter came with Jake Thornton from Auburn, so I wonder if he takes a step. Also, we see uh, Gavin Brocious and Braden Smith. So it seems like Braden Smith has had the upper hand on Gavin Brocious, who Gavin Brocious came in from Michigan State. So that should be an interesting battle in fall camp. And just also on at the right guard position with Colin Amick and Cade Meyer and Trevor Bendel. It's really going to be interesting to see how these how this offensive line um, competition is going to be because the best players will play. So really excited to see what happens and what we get, what the reports we get for when fall camp starts, which I believe will probably start at the end of this month. I think, or at the beginning of next month.
Yeah, I think it would be at like some like I think right now, yeah, I think it would be at like the start of August, so it's kind of like just right before you hit the ground running for your regular season. But yeah, offensive line is like this unit. Yeah, it's gonna have to be obviously size, strength, and agility because, and also
Yes.
very smart, like kind of smart, like being able to communicate like kind of defensive schemes. So we'll have to see because that's going to be the key. Is can you open up the running lanes for your running backs to shoot the gaps, and then can you also protect Jalen Rayner and not allow him to really like you basically like your biggest goal in any sort of game is to not allow the quarterback to have any dirt on his jersey.
Yes. And with that, that was good like offensive line talk. Let's get into the quarterback position.
Hmm.
Obviously, Jalen Rayner. Um, I mean, if anybody really paid attention to media Big 12 media days, they he said that Jalen Rayner will be a starter. They brought him in for a reason. So let's let's take a look at his numbers from Arkansas State since he was a 3 year starter at Arkansas State. That will sort of really give you a sort of a baseline on sort of what
Hmm.
to expect.
Yep. Yep. So over the past 3 years, so it was 3 years, he was the starter at Arkansas State. Uh, his freshman year campaign was at around a 58% completion percentage for a little over 2,500 yards with 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And then his sophomore year jumped that completion percentage up to about 62% for 2,780 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And then his junior year, it was up to 66.5%, the completion percentage up to 66.5%, 3,361 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. So the main thing to look at in the number one goal for Jalen, like when you bring in Jalen Raynor and what you want him to see is cut down in the interceptions, cut down on the turnovers. That's the
Yes.
number one thing, because they were especially seeing it during the two Arkansas like the games that Iowa State had against Arkansas State. You could tell he's a pretty good quarterback, and I mean he was dicing us up, but like those turnovers became a bit of a problem, and Iowa State was able to do enough with capitalizing off of those to win both games, especially in 2024 where Iowa State just blew the doors and just ran away with the game in like the first half.
And part of me wonders is that is like there is that this staff they were probably saying, hey, if he can put up these numbers with barely no line and stuff like that, what if he comes to a place where he has a better line, comes up a level, maybe those numbers can improve. So maybe that's something that we see. And obviously, behind him, it seems like the race for quarterback two is between Connor Moberly and Zane Flores.
Hmm. Yep. And then yeah, so that's the big deal, and there's no doubt he's the number one. But I wonder, do you see within this quarterback room we could potentially be seeing Zane Flores and Connor Mobley in limited actions?
So honestly, like we've been hearing just on you know a lot of different like Cyclone based shows, Clone Fanatic, and other ones. That hey, maybe this could be they could use maybe Connor Mobley in like a land ram type of formation, like Joel Lanning did, because Connor Mobley is a explosive runner. Can is very can use his legs well, which I believe also believe why Tyler Rose said that he would also be a good fit for this offense. And like going back to like talking about Trey Lance, one of the things that like I like about Jalen Rayner is that when he runs with the football, he is very fluid with his run style. Like at least for the last 3 years, Rocco like was an effective. He was an effective runner, but like, and I'm saying Jalen Rayner is looking to run, but he's like a much better like athlete, and he like tailor made to fit this type of offense. So I think the type of like plays that we'll see, I think obviously we're probably going to be more of a 60-40 to 50-50 split of run pass. Probably, I got to think. Um, and I think we're going to see a lot out of play action and under center, which obviously, which is what you're going to be doing in the NFL. And Jalen Rayner has aspirations to be in the NFL after this, but like I'm interested to see, once we see videos out of camp to see what we're gonna be running.
Hmm.
That's the curiosity that I honestly have
Yeah.
with this.
Yep. And then even like outside of that, like he recently, I think he had a quarterback camp recently that was down in Texas, and a lot of fans of Jalen Raynor were able to follow that with his YouTube page. So if you're definitely looking for more content related to Jalen Raynor, look at his YouTube page. He's trying to build like that media connection outside of the official media days and things like that with Iowa State football. So really, it's him really try like building that relationship up with the fans. So that's something that I like to see. Half the battle when it comes to being like the guy is having establishing a relationship like off the field. That's half the
Mm-hmm.
battle right there. The other half is going to be what we see in the stadium. But I think already he's off to a flying start when it comes to embracing Iowa State and building that connection.
I mean, look, he brought Cyclone Alley Pizza during the KU game, and I know you were there for that, Cody, and I know you guys appreciate that.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
just also the ability. Oh, sorry, I'll let you finish that thought.
No, you're good.
After,
Go ahead.
but like just like being able to know like learn your teammate's name, like everybody's like, okay, well, what does that have to do with leadership? It means that like it means a lot. Actually, it means that you actually took the time to get to know everybody, because as the quarterback, a lot of people will see you as the leader of the team to lead them into battle. So if they can't like really trust you to do that, or like trust you to like really know their name, it sounds silly, but like something as silly as that is like can be very important and can like lay the foundation for to build and bring like the team even closer.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah, I think with that said, yeah, Jalen Raynor will definitely be the guy to look out for. Is probably going to be like obviously the main guy to look out for, but pairing him up with the backfield will be Cam Petaway, Aiden Flora, and then the aforementioned Arnold Barnes the third. Petaway is projected to be the lead running back. He spent his last season. at Toledo, correct? Oh no, Bowling Green.
No, he was
Excuse
at
me.
Bowling Green. No, it's
Sorry.
okay.
Oh, I definitely just set up a fire war in the MAC.
You sure did.
Yep. Yep. So looking at last season, 365 yards, no touchdowns, but he did have a couple of receiving touchdowns with 104 yards. So he doesn't jump out like on paper. It doesn't exactly jump out to you as like it would do much, but 5'10", 175. He's definitely the yeah, as we mentioned, the agile type of guy, and I think no, if you caught anything related to his play, but I'm curious to see what your input is and having him as the lead running back.
So, like you said, like I see sort of a David Montgomery and what's the other running back's name that we said?
Gibbs.
Yeah, Jameer Gibbs type of comp. I like that. Um, I think what you're gonna see in this
Oh,
offense is a lot. What's up?
I was just reading something from the past where what was it? Yeah, his season got cut. Uh, what due to injury or is that or am I mistaken?
No, no, you're right. No, it did. He also is a guy that you can use in the return game too. I remember last year he started off the season.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, I'm reading. Okay, it was last year that it like kind of got cut short due to injury, so it was his freshman year. Sorry. I think we lost Tyler, but I honestly, it's been uh, honestly, I still yeah. So but yeah, the return game mentioned that with Camp Petaway. That's an area where I would love to see like growth just overall because the past few years, we've had some like especially last year there were some inconsistencies when it came to returning, but there was like he did have like a notable 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and this was during the first game of the year where okay, so just showing off. So he has that brief of like so he like against Lafayette was that kick return. So there is the capabilities that you can have with Cam Petaway in the return game. Now the question uh, is our special teams up to degree to be able to do so? That's something I don't know. Okay.
Sorry about that. I completely apologize.
Oh, did your internet cut out?
Yeah.
Uh, well, yeah. I lost the punchline. I thought of a punchline, but I just lost it.
um. So no. Okay. So basically, what I was saying um before we got cut out um is that he is a big Petaway is a big weapon in the return game
Mhm.
because last year he started off the season with running back a kick return for a touchdown. Um, so the fact that him and Flora are probably going to be involved in the return game too really makes it interesting, which sort of means that I'm guessing that Arnold Barnes could have a bigger role than what we could imagine. Because I could imagine Arnold Barnes probably being inserted in like at um in like short yardage scenarios, and that probably would have been Saladin Alaz um, role because he was the bruising back, but unfortunately he tore his ACL. So I think that you insert Arnold Barnes as being the short yardage back.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's like where another thing is like I kind of miss those. Like I do miss like really good like special teams, and I mean special teams they play a role. Obviously Iowa State fans we are so used to being on the other end of incompetent special teams, like I've mentioned on the show before. Need to point to you the debacles of 2025, 2019 Cyhawk, et cetera. But this could be a refreshing change because if we're able to have like guys like Petaway and Flora produce in the kick return game, that can really set up our offense and make things a little easier for this offensive unit. And who knows, maybe those extra yards can can be beneficial. It's about like, and if you're able to make anybody's like the offense's job easier to score points, then that's a win. That's a small win that can go towards a actual like win for like each game.
Yeah, I'll say this: when you, especially in a season where you have tons of turnover, I think flipping the field and winning field position is like going to be more important than ever, especially to when you don't know what you have offensively. I think the first few games, this is what they're going to try to do is flip field.
Hmm.
And this is obviously the way that Iowa wins games is by flipping field because they know offensively they can't really do much, but they know if you can flip field and force the team to go 80 yards and you have to go 40, like that's where you win is in the hidden yardage department. Like
Hmm.
I remember, I know you guys, all the fans remember Jeff Woody and hidden yardage. That hidden yardage stuff is real. Like the less you have to go, the less yards you have to go, and the more chances you give yourself to score. So I mean, um, but I'm really interested to see um, how these running backs are used in the return game. I just think that we're going to see a lot of swing passes in this offense too, and a lot of screens as well.
Hmm. Yeah. I actually managed to find something here related to field position value, where it measures like net field, starting field position. So basically, where drives start less or more than 60 yards from the end zone, and things like that. Looking at the teams in the top five, you have from the 2025 season: Texas Tech, Iowa, Arizona, Notre Dame, in Indiana. Now Texas Tech, I mean, that plays into part like probably special teams, but also maybe the turnovers and things like that. Iowa State, meanwhile, is number 41, right there with Bowling Green and Miami, Ohio. So this is where maybe you could see a jump for like a small jump, but a big jump. Either one is going to be really beneficial for this Iowa State team. And looking at like about uh, 20% of their total like offensive possessions, they started like less than 60 yards from the end zone. And I remember there were times too where we would like uh, also decisiveness too when it comes to like the returns, because you don't want to have a returner that's indecisive, because we've seen what happens when a guy can't decide on whether to take a knee and things like that. I, it happened again. Oh god, I think the special teams talk has gone to Tyler. Oh boy. Um, okay, so kind of like I guess while I'm here, kind of breaking down like this field position value. This is from bcftoys.com. So this website has a field position value, so it rates like as a like kind of introduced net starting field position, being the difference between uh your offensive starting field position versus your opponent's starting field position in regulation drives. So it's defined so percentage, so OLF DLF is defined as drives started more than 80 yards from the end zone, and then percentage of drives started less than 60 yards from the end zone.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Sorry about this. It's been so bad today. I apologize. But yeah, man. I missed what you said, but
Oh, I was just
like
giving a quick like kind of breakdown or just an overview of like starting like field position values and things like that, because that's an underrated stat, and I don't think enough people are talking about like those type of things. Okay.
so I mean, enough talk about the running backs. Let's look at the wide receivers.
Hmm. The wide receiver room to me is probably where you have like, I think for me, you could probably have a lot like the most intrigue. Evan Boyd, Cody Jackson, and Dom Overby are slated to be the starters, but you also have Jordan Bailey, Carter Paps, and Amari Hayes. Amari Hayes is probably like the name I think most people are talking about. It's like could like compete for like is most likely to compete for a starting spot. But Evan Boyd, he is the wide receiver that we nabbed out of Michigan State, and in his 2 years at Michigan State, he accumulated a career total. Well, he redshirted last year, so there'll be things to look out for. But he did spend a year actually at Central Michigan where he racked up 302 receiving yards and two touchdowns. But he is 6'3" and 208, so you like that size for a wide receiver, and he could be the kind of receiver you could potentially go to kind of deeper down the field. So you're looking for him to primarily stretch the field. Meanwhile, you look at a guy like Cody Jackson, he's going to be definitely maybe your more slot ish receiver. And you look at back at Dom Overby, he's your tall receiver. He's the guy you go and throw the 50-50 ball to and see if he can go get it. He did see some play last year, and he had that touchdown in Ireland against Kansas State, and then he had a second touchdown, but I don't let's see, remember from which game it was. It was against ironic Arkansas State, where Iowa State wasn't really able to move the ball too much, but he did have like that touchdown in that game against Arkansas State as well.
Yeah, I think Dom Overby is due to have a big rebound season. I think I think he was like in his head for a lot of the for a lot of the season last year
Mm-hmm.
because he had his chance, but just every time like there was a shot, um, he was unfortunately he didn't have the focus. But I'm really excited to see what Tyler Rowe has in store for Amari Hayes because Amari Hayes is going to be that guy that you send deep because I see they Tulane did it a lot last year to where they just threw just go balls to Amari Hayes. Um, I think one catch that stood out to me, I think, was when they played UTSA. He just went and caught a go ball and he just torched him. So he has that type of track speed. And I know Cody Jackson was very productive at Tarleton State. So I'm excited to see what his skill set um, turns into, and we're gonna look at his career stats real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I mean, real quick back to Amari Hayes. There was this it was a brief play, but he can also provide a block, and then there's the touchdown by Jake Retzloff against Northwestern, Power Five competition. Just to throw out there, and Amari Hayes threw out a pretty good block in order to like open the door, so he'll also be able to do like those little things, especially if Jalen Rayner can go running. You have Amari Hayes who is committed to making those blocks and giving Rayner some extra space to run.
Right. And this goes into we're gonna break that we're gonna go to talk about Cody Jackson real quick. Cody Jackson had some good size, but we're gonna show you some of his stats because he has been around college football um, as he has been at what four no three different schools. So as you see, as a freshman in 2021, he started off at Oklahoma and then he transferred to Houston, and then he went to Tarleton State, where in 14 games he had 29 receptions for 490 yards and eight touchdowns, and then last year 53 receptions, 799 for six touchdowns. So you see, like this is a guy that can be used as a deep threat and is able to do something with the ball as soon as he gets it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I believe yeah he was like Tarleton State for maybe those like maybe kind of introducing like Tarleton State for the first time. FCS kind of like power like they were at FCS power last year. They did go to the FCS playoffs. They finished 12-2. I finished second in the UAC in the FCS ball, and they did they won the conference title and lost in the quarterfinal to Villanova for the SCS tournament. But I mean, just they did play with a bit of a pro spread style, so I think Cody Jackson is going to be a bit familiar with that style of offense when he's here with Tyler Roll, because he did see a pro spread type of style.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to. you're definitely gonna see those types of route. The route tree is probably gonna be definitely very um, familiar to him.
Hmm.
All right, and lastly, to end the show, we're going to talk about the tight ends. Obviously, right now, slated to start is Tyler Fortenberry, and as a quarterback, you always want to have somebody that you're familiar with. Tyler Fortenberry came along with Jalen Rayner, and Hecklenberg, the quarterbacks coach from Arkansas State, and Tyler Fortenberry is a baller, man.
Hmm. Looking at his two his two best games, 5 receptions for 69 yards, nice, and a touchdown against Appalachian State, and then he had 6 catches for 61 yards against let me see, yeah, let me make sure this is correct. Southern Miss. Yep. So I had to just make sure that was the correct school. But generally speaking, sure hands is very helpful, and we see what can often happen when you have a reliable tight end who can run block, pass block, but also catch the football. And then there are some situations where I think we could probably use the tight end a little more as as a pass catcher, especially if you're those it's like short yard situations. That's probably where you can see like a tight end thrive the most. But
Yeah. And part of me wonders, like, since we are going to be running like this, sort of like the same little bit of a run scheme that we did in 2024. Obviously, you see Keaton Roskip. I wonder if Keaton Roskip, if we're going to see in certain situations as the H back, in certain formations, because Keaton Roskip, he does have, he has hands and he's very very talented. So very
mhm,
very excited to see where Keaton Roskip falls in the shuffle of where of this lineup, and also Christian Greenlaw. He came from the FCS level as well. Excited to see what Christian Greenlaw can do in this offense too.
mhm. So yeah, so this is definitely be an intriguing unit, and then I think I don't know. I think maybe it's dare I say underrated in some way, shape, or form, because it's not like we're throwing I personally don't think we're throwing out like what I think people think is like it's just a bunch of lower tier like FCS scrubs. I think this is could actually be a cohesive unit, and with this coaching staff that I know they've been hammering home and what they can do and what the resume that Jim Rogers has built. This is this can be a formidable squad, and to look at this offensive unit as to be the type of unit who are scrappy, uh, as long as they like keep the small details in check and maybe get a explosive player or two, that can really help this offensive unit. And I think with that, you can really build. I think this is going to be an offensive unit that's a project, and as the season goes on, it's going to get way better. But I think they have a pretty solid baseline.
Yes, I completely agree. Like, obviously, as a coaching staff, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a whole bunch of random people. No, they're people that these are the people that thought that fits their system. So, um, really really excited. Like I said, once fall camp starts and once we start seeing like seeing like highlights and seeing what the offense actually looks like, or at least from what we've seen from like spring, very very excited to see what this offense looks like come September 5th.
Hmm. Yep. So I mean, we have that discussion, but this is something that I kind of noticed earlier today. We know how very fickle and wild the NIL world is. The NIL world giveth, but also taketh. This is from On Three that I saw earlier, and I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. And looking at the top 10 values, you're gonna see an obvious thorn if you're an Iowa State fan. You're at number two.
Yeah, I mean, this unfortunately shows the haves and the have-nots to where you can develop someone, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, if you don't have the funds to retain, then you're sort of
Mm-hmm.
SOL.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I think like we talked about in the previous show, more than ever, the next AD needs to definitely just try to find different revenue opportunities and especially down in Des Moines and partner with local businesses that want to support
Hmm.
Iowa State. So I like you said, you want to have this next AD to be a lot more forward thinking and come up with different outlets for NIL.
Yeah, and this is something oddly enough where I think we there was a bit of a conversation like when it came to Milan Momcilovic, and we saw a bit of this talk about like, well, if Milan was cost 6 million, then why maybe you should have had like a big donor obviously for Iowa State come in and throw like throw a blank check. I did see a little bit of that where I think we do have people that had like that money just ready to just chuck, but obviously administrative stuff and also the timing of it all was the main reason why. Where yes, I would have absolutely loved to just throw a blank check, but also you do have like that revenue type of deal, and I think too that's where maybe the new AD could come in and provide maybe a change is in the old system of revenue stream it left it left like TJ like TJ Altenberger had like probably like the most, but it's also like he had the most out of any of the coaches. But I think there was a thing where I think you do have to sacrifice some of some of the sports NIL in order to be able to fund your top two programs, which is your football and men's basketball. And
And yeah, you're right, and it's interesting because and and I love the work that Cyclone Fanatic does, but like Chris Williams was even saying um in his shows and on the I believe him and Jake Brent did a show and talking about just the mindset of of Jamie Pollard of him wanting to be good in like every single like collegiate sport because he was coming from the old mindset of one of just not paying players and he said even years ago that he was sort of against paying players because he was sort of on the student athlete type of wave. I know a lot of people that still believe that to this day,
mhm,
but I think that could help and also hurt you,
yeah,
especially in an era where players are getting paid. So like
yeah,
I think like we said, having somebody that's forward thinking and um unfortunately with as bad as this sounds, like you need to have a AD that's in lockstep with your football coach and your basketball coach,
mhm,
especially since these are our two main sports, and you want to and you have an elite coach at in college basketball that everybody wants. So I feel like when your basketball, football, and your AD are in lockstep, I think that spells good things for your school.
mhm. And then you have to be accept the fact that this is essentially professional business because the way college sports is, it's a
Yeah,
professional business with transactions and things like that. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much, yeah. I mean that's just the state of NIL. And I also did hear that in the aftermath of Jamie Pollard retiring, that it looks like Town will finally actually get fully groundbreaking. This is an announcement that Pollard made during his press conference retirement speech. So this is also what he posted on Twitter. So basically, yeah. So he basically put a picture up on Twitter with a mock-up of a hotel that they're gonna put as presumably to like right in front of the Sheeman building, and that can connect like maybe build another bridge to the Hilton Coliseum and things like that. So this groundbreaking is after years of planning is planning to go ahead here on September 2nd. So we'll be seeing the construction of that right during prime football season.
yeah, and I think a lot of people just gotta I gotta like look I guess towards the future. And I know probably a lot of local people won't like this, but to be fair, it's not really for the local people. It's for the people that like will come hours from for games or out of state. You gotta think of it that way, and you gotta think of it that this is a place where people can also congregate during the winter.
Hmm.
And like the fact that it could also take traffic away from Duff and from downtown Ames if there's more food options, like because I'm pretty sure the wait times are long on the weekends, especially when school's in session with all the students and stuff. So
Hmm. Yep. Then yeah, so I think that's a big thing. And then one more like and then another thing, I saw the post earlier with Jack Trice stadium like in 1996. This is from Mike Green, where basically was the construction of the press tower. Do you like I think it's long overdue that we get a like a
yeah, that
fully
needs to happen. That
wait,
needs to
okay.
happen,
What
man.
are okay, so what are some things that like you want to see like in these years if we do let's say that we have a big budget of like money or whatever, like unlimited money stream. What are some things you want to see like at least facilities wise to be done?
Okay, so facilities wise, yeah, I would like to update the press box and maybe actually put. I know this is NFL like, but man, if we were able to just put like some luxury boxes in there, that would be pretty cool. And
Yeah.
then this might trigger some people, but I would fully bowl in the stadium. Like it would mean getting rid of the grass sides, but
Mhm.
I would fully bowl in the stadium so then you can get the capacity up to at least 65 to 66,000
Mhm.
and fully bowl in the stadium.
Yeah.
That's another thing I would do too.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had the yes, I guess like kind of building up on the kind of like your 2 points about like luxury boxes and then bowling in like the north end, you get rid of the end zone club. I think there's some maybe you get that's what you do. You get rid of the end zone club and then you convert that into the suites that you get like with the press box, but also you move like the TV broadcast like there because I think you get room for
Yes.
the TV broadcast. I think it looks better. And then bowling in, I wonder would you be able to like have like the two tier, or would you just bowl in the lower level and then keep the upper deck as is?
I probably would bowl in the lower level and keep the upper level as is.
Yeah. And also, we're I'm under the presumption that we're also bowling in where the Sukup End Zone Club used to be. You convert that to general like to regular like seats and things like
Yes, because those people in there are trifling, man.
that.
Especially like that they be the ones that they be the main ones that ruin the stadium.
It makes
The
us
stadium
it
atmosphere.
makes Iowa State it makes us look worse than we actually are, and it's true we look bad, but also the Enzo Club it doesn't help when you like have like the two things you have the Enzo Club but then the whole leaving at halftime. It makes the third quarter atmosphere look horrible, and we repeatedly got in trouble for that, and I mean rightfully so. Um,
Also, just a suggestion for the people who do our concessions: please have people for beer going up and down the stairs. Like it will make it so much more easier if you have more like people that like yes, it's good that we have carts and stuff around the stadium,
yeah,
but it's also nice just like because I've seen it at baseball games where they have up and down. Get your ice cold like
I was gonna
have
say
that
that.
too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, you don't think of this like right at baseball. That would be kind of that would be kind of funny to just like I don't know what other schools do that. Have you seen any other colleges
I
do that type of thing?
Well, wait, did they do it at? I I thought I saw it at Cincinnati.
Mm,
When we were there, they had a beer guy. With so I
hmm.
mean, if other schools do it, why can't we?
Yeah, that's fair. Yep. And then something else too. I think if we do bowl in like the lower bowl, move the students back to the north end.
Please,
Like
ugh.
where like the band like where like the band is in the current confinement, you bowl like all that in and then you put the students at the north end zone. Wouldn't that be
Yes.
something? And so basically it would kind of remind me of like I don't mean to draw on this, but like kind of like the Penn State thing. It would wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
that be kind of funny where like we did something kind of like that and then like in the center you kind of have like the cardinal gold eye. That's a fever dream.
Yes,
If we were to bowl in like both the upper and lower bowl, that's a fever dream. But that would be kind of funny.
it would. It definitely would.
Yep.
Um,
That's
yeah.
mainly football, but then I look at other facilities too. Vault like basketball. I mean, I like that already. Hilton Coliseum. I think it's there are some things like you have to expand the concourse. You got to expand that concourse in some way, shape, or form because it is too crammed and things like and all that. Um, I've walked through. It's a little like it's just very claustrophobic. Like with walking through the concourse. Besides that, I don't really think there's anything like at least with home coliseum, and then like all the other sports we have, like wrestling, volleyball, etc., etc. Yeah, I definitely want to see because there's that field house right by where volleyball and and the basketball teams practice. That was originally supposed to be where the wrestling facility was. So hopefully, I
Mm.
would definitely make that uh, like for the wrestling teams, and then yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
I have another. I have another wish list, dude. We need to make hockey. We need to make hockey like an actual like sanctioned sport, not a club sport anymore. I want an outdoor game at Jack Trice, man.
Oh, that's always the big thing. It's the whole like feasibility thing when it comes to like arena capacities. Obviously, I don't want to do it the Ames Ice Arena. You probably can't do it there. I've seen the picture of the past at Hilton Coliseum, and I can see why maybe you couldn't do it there. But I mean, oh, if there is a way to be able to reconfigure Hilton in some way, shape, or form, so you could fit basketball and hockey, that would be
Yeah,
nice.
that would be awesome. Yeah.
Mhm. So, and then and then I guess I think that's don't really have well, I guess nothing else to say. I guess other than the fact that I mean, what we're 50 some days away from the first
Hmm.
college football game. September 5th. Oh, it's gonna be here sooner than later. And then who knows what I'm gonna? Oh God, who knows what I'm gonna do for Cyhawk, depending on how my schedule runs out.
I
But oh,
mean, I might be going too. So
ooh. Oh, like this will be interesting. Let's see if things can line up the way they do. If not, because I think I do work set. Like I think with like because my this is a heads up. I think my schedule, because I guess I'll say now I recently got a big boy job, so it's finally time that I have that. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be working Saturdays, so I don't think I'll be able to. That'll be sad, but if I can't go to football.
yeah, I saw when he's in '95. I'm like, no.
Yeah, when I saw like I'm working on Saturdays, like that's the one day that I'm like, I mean, I guess I'll have to sacrifice it, but
Yeah,
who knows? If there's I mean, let's see, a late enough game. It depends on what times like these games are. Really, somehow, some way, the absolute sicko in me is hoping that West Virginia, Utah, or Oklahoma State becomes like a really, really late, like a late night game. I could try to dash right up there after work.
you work in Des Moines.
Yeah. I'm gonna be working. Yeah, working in Des Moines.
I mean, it honestly, like us, the whiteout game is probably going to be a night game,
Yeah,
regardless of what our record
yeah,
is.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I don't have to get tickets for that. I could probably, if anything, just try to pull up to like a tailgate right at
yeah,
kickoff,
yeah,
something like that. And I'll be actually pretty okay with that. But
right.
you know what I mean, that means for me is like basketball is gonna be a lot more open to my schedule, and hopefully we get like I want another big Monday. Like there's got to be another big Monday game in some way, shape, or form because that like I said, that whole stretch, Valentine's Day was absolute peak, and now we get the home and like the appropriate. I think there were a couple appropriate home and homes that that
Well,
I was
you already
staying
know
at.
KU is probably going to be one of
Yeah. KU, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and then we get Arizona, BYU, K State, and Cincy coming to town. So I'm hoping
them.
I'm gonna make it like I'm making a probably gonna just make it. This has been an impromptu like basketball segment, but I'm making a bold claim right now. Iowa State, our big Monday game is going to be. Well, I don't think this is bold, but I would say it against Arizona. That's our big Monday game at Hilton
I
Coliseum,
agree. I
and
agree.
then when we go to like, I think the other one, if we do go on the road, it's gonna be Kansas.
Yeah, nah,
Like,
those are both safe bets.
yeah, well, I mean, it's not even both; those are safe. But I mean, one that could be pretty bold, or could be Texas Tech. Who knows?
It could be Tech. It could be Tech. It could be Purdue. I mean, who
Uh,
knows?
I think Purdue is what,
Or is
December
that a
6th.
Thursday? Oh, okay.
Purdue is December 6th, which means that is going
Oh,
to
that's
be,
Saturday, right?
or December 5th. Excuse me. I think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait, that says December 6th. Hold on, let me make sure this is correct because I'm seeing the graphic that the Twitter page posted. It said it was on December 6th, which would mean that's a Sunday. Let me make sure this is correct. Oh, we're playing them on Sunday. We're playing them on Sunday.
Oh, a
December 6th
Sunday
is.
game. Interesting.
Oh. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Oh no, but I mean, with my work schedule, I'm off on Sundays.
Hey, there you go.
Just tailgate for. We're just gonna tailgate for basketball. If that Purdue game, I'm assuming it's gonna be announced for a noon like type of tip off.
Yeah, they probably don't want to. They probably don't want to go up against the NFL. So
And what, conference championship weekend
conference championship weekend, and then yeah. So that'll probably be a late or a late afternoon game. So
on Sunday. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, that somehow was. I don't know how I just. Yeah, I mean that just honestly came right off the top of my head, but I was like, like I just knocking on the door for both football and basketball. Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was your offensive preview. Um, Join us on Thursday as we break down the defense. Um, we want to thank our sponsor, FanDuel, for sponsoring the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Um, we just had Spain, who is now in the World Cup final. Saturday, you can bet on Argentina versus England to see who Spain will face in the World Cup final.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, Spain, you definitely made money if like you had like probably made some money there, and especially if you put down Pedro Porro as an anytime goal scorer. I saw on FanDuel he was a what, plus 1,300. I saw this tweet. He was a plus
Ooh,
13 or plus 1,800 anytime goal scorer. So if you had him as the goal scorer, you made yourself a pretty penny. And I mean
sure
Spain.
did.
I mean, yeah, Spain. They're gunning for a second World Cup title, and then yeah, I mentioned England, Argentina. That one I find that one to be interesting.
Vargentina.
Yeah, I labeled them that myself. That's also another name that people have called it. But also there is some random history with this one. If anybody knows about the Falkland Island Wars, and that's the history. And then also within the context of the World Cup, Diego Maradona is probably the first name you think of when it comes to England, Argentina. The hand of God and the goal of the century are those two things. And yeah, looking at the live, these odds on FanDuel, I'm looking right now live. England is a minus 124 favorite, and then Argentina is a plus 106 underdog. And I think this goes on the fact that England's got Jude Bellingham, who I look at as like he's definitely been the bright spot
Yeah,
for
he
England.
might be the difference in that game.
Yeah, but also Harry Kane. Like he's in the Golden Boot race, and you like Harry Kane has stepped up for England time and time again.
And I mean, and Jude Bellingham has been the guy for them. So that's going to be a hell of a match. I can't wait to watch that.
Yep. So yeah, you have that, and then also like you still have baseball going on, and I definitely can't wait for like all those football bets and things like that. I know you have the All Star game going on right now, but who knows? Maybe you can use the All Star break to reevaluate some of these odds. Maybe check on your parlays if like you set one up for like the World Series winner, things like that.
Yep, the second half will be starting, I believe, what, next on Thursday?
I believe so. Yeah, because the All Star game was just today.
Yeah. So Everybody will be starting up. Hopefully, the White Sox will be working their way towards the AL Central title.
Hmm.
All right. So a few things before we go. You can find me on Twitter at SciTiGuy1992. You can find Cody on Twitter at Tia Propaganda. Also, follow us on social media. Follow what we're doing on social media. The YouTube page is blowing up, TikTok page is blowing up. Go and check those out. Uh, Once again, follow us on Thursday as we break down the defense. That is your show today for Tyler Carter.
And for Cody Viziola,
This is the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
go Cyclones.